So for the past couple months, I was the editor on a short documentary film by my friend John called Meesh, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what it was like structuring that film, because it was a pretty unique experience, and I actually got to be a little creative with it. So I was actually not present for the filming of the interview. I hadn't been hired yet. But I was given the footage after the fact, and, looking at the interview, I was able to kind of create the structure of the story around that. So I got all the interview footage, and I watched all of it, and, the story really got to me. Obviously, it was a very personal story, and I figured that it could also work personally in a visual sense. One of the big things that I took from the interview was a little visual thing that sort of miraculously happened during the shooting of it, apparently, because the interview is filmed in two distinct general parts. It's filmed while it's still daytime outside, and it's filmed when it's darker out, when it's nighttime. And it's evident through like the change in lighting and the window that's behind Michelle during the interview. And some people might see that as a mistake. That might be the first place that people go with it, that it was like some kind of a problem. But I actually saw it as like this really good opportunity to structure the entire story around, when those interview sections pop up visually in the story. So the actual process that I went through in making this was that I went through all of the interview footage and I transcribed the entire thing. Like, I basically wrote out every word that Michelle said in the interview, just, in one whole transcript, just with nothing changed yet. And then after the fact, I took that transcript and I started plucking sentences out and plucking whole events out and kind of reordering some of them so that it flowed more like a narrative trajectory, I guess. It has the introduction, event 1 being the car crash, the aftermath of the car crash, event 2, the aftermath of event 2, and then the conclusion being more of a rise up, because what we wanted was to actually have that reflect what's going on in Michelle's life now, that she's been able to positively reflect on these negative situations. So we have it literally so that she comes out of that by the end, and there's it's sort of a bittersweet ending because of that. So due to this new structuring, we have a literal arc for Michelle, and I figured that in the edit I would kind of do something visual to match that. It's something kind of simple, and I use a lot of stock footage for it, but just basically the idea of the sun setting and rising. We start in a positive place, but then it gets darker, then it's evening, and then at the darkest point of the narrative, the sun sets entirely, and it's dark. And once the positive stuff starts to happen, the sun rises, and by the end, we've started over. We're back during the day. Things are okay again. And I kind of wanted that to match the interviews, because the interviews also do something similar. And so there was some color grading that was done towards the really dark parts. But other than that, I kind of just used the interview portions as they existed, to kind of set and rise with Michelle. This is also reflected in the pickup shoots that we did, because I actually helped shoot a lot of the B-roll footage that you see in the film, and the way that we decided to shoot around a lot of that stuff was based on the time of day. So there was some stuff that we filmed under orange light, there's some stuff that we filmed under a more blue dark night light, and then there's some stuff that we just filmed in Michelle's house during the day, in order to kind of give each part of the story its own visual look to match where we were tonally in the story. I think it's good to make small on-set things like a change in lighting work a little bit more in the edit. And I'm personally really happy with the way that it turned out, and I hope that it in any way helped to enhance Michelle's story.